to live my dreams. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't really. It ain't no in between. Baby, you can ask the sun. It's an everyday theme. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave is how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god. I lay at night. I rest in peace. They remember me, but I am not Haram or beef.
Peace, light, and illumination. And I welcome you. Peace, Sheik, peace, Empress.
Peace,
Islam. We welcome you all to another BBT Sunday School with Sheik Kyrie and the Muftis here at the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. We'll get our Sunday school started off. Number one, Islam Sheik. Empress, how you doing today?
Islam.
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing today, everybody?
Good, babe. Good.
Doing great. May you start us off with the Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is our protector, our guide, and our salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Nabi Ali. Shalom Aleichem, Ayah Asha'ayah, Islam, Amen, peace, light, and illumination. Islam.
Wow.
I'll also get us started here on this Sunday school with our aims of the Burning Bush Tabernacle, Science Temple of School, Islam Sheik. Again, I'll go over our aims of the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. And our aims are as follows. 1, to illuminate the student to find and know Yahweh, our Elohim, as he really is and exists. 2, to form a nucleus of universal brotherhood of humanity in Yahshua the Messiah without distinction of race or nationality, creed, sex, caste, or color. Aim number 3, to investigate the unexplained spirit law or so-called law of nature and the powers latent in man. 4, to encourage and promote the study of the scriptures, comparative religions, psychology, philosophy, and modern practical and occult science. 5, to remove spookism, superstition, skepticism, and ignorance. Aim number 6, to learn, know, and understand the operation of Yahweh's eternal purpose through dispensations and ages. 7, to discern and avoid being deceived by Lucifer, the serpent, the devil, the dragon, or Satan and his demons, operating the mystery of inequity on earth through dispensations of time. 8, to earnestly contend for the common salvation and faith, which was once delivered to the sons of or children of Yahweh. 9, to make known that Yahweh from the beginning ordained there is no other name given among men whereby man can be saved, saving the name of Yahshua the Messiah. And aim number 10, to inherit eternal life now in the kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah with the hope of immortal glorification and the new earth state. And with that, I say peace, light, and illumination. Peace. Those were our aims of the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. Scientific study will illuminate the student that Yahweh, our Elohim, God, the creator of this stellar and ecclesiastical universe, has stipulated in all Bibles, regardless of the translation, a pattern that he, Yahweh Elohim, gave Moses and Mount Sinai in year 1490. It is by a profound knowledge of the construction and operation of this divine pattern of the Mosaic tabernacle in relation to every created object in the universe, whether visible or invisible, that will reveal the answer to every question concerning Yahweh Elohim and Yahshua the Messiah, as he really is, and his eternal purpose and plan. The Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School is not a church, but a school of research founded up with the idea in mind to delve into every branch of science according to the pattern of the tabernacle, man-made in the image of Yahweh, or man-made in the image of God, Allah, to find the answer to every question that has plagued the student from the foundation of the world, thus proving the unerring accuracy and infallibility of the Bible. When research and study, we always use the true Hebrew names of the unity of the spirit of the so-called Godhead. Instead of the title God as the Father's name, we are using the correct Hebrew name, Yahweh. Instead of Jesus Christ as the Word or Son's name, we are using Elohim, which is the correct Hebrew title of the Father, Yahweh, and superincorporeal form. For the Holy Spirit, which is Yahweh Elohim, manifested in a physical body, we are using the correct Hebrew name, Yahshua the Messiah. These holy names may seem to be of a private interpretation, which the Burning Bush Tabernacle have invented, but through research and study with a good encyclopedia or dictionary, anybody can discover for themselves of this great error. There was never a letter J in any language until Middle Ages. Neither was there ever a letter equivalent to the J in the Hebrew language. Therefore, such names as Jesus or Jehovah are impossible renderings of the true name of the Father and Son. And with that, Sheikh, Islam.
Gratitude.
Peace, peace.
Gratitude. Very eloquently said, Noble, and thank you for taking time to break that down.
Islam.
Me and my dad were just having a conversation, man, about brotherhood and, and taking our science to a higher level to where it bridges all gaps. One of our aims, I think, is aim 3. We are brotherhood. It's not contingent over color, creed, sex, race per se. Why? Because love trumps all that, and understanding trumps all that, and brotherhood trumps all that. It trumps all that, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to trump all of that. Islam. But we're going to break down a biblical text today. We're not going to be that long, but why I'm pulling something else up, I want to share with you guys. It's a little, let me see, which one is it? It's just a little esoteric science that I always like to give to brothers and sisters to look at with the close eye. And then we're going to break down Malachi 3:3, because that was asked. Me and Noble Malik, was pondering on some things, and he always called me, and he was like, "Sheik, this question came up, in his daily life, with people, and other people that believe or take scriptures and analyze it, and we look for truth in everything." And so just keep Malachi 3:3, and we're going to follow up with that after we wrap up. But I want to talk about, we always talk about the Gnostic and the 12. And in the Bible, we talk about Mazzaroth. Mazzaroth is the constellations, it's the zodiacs. And so we always talk about this 12, right? We always heard about the 12 so-called disciples, right? Have we heard of that before?
Islam, the 12 disciples. Islam.
Yep. But I want to break something down real fast. Because like I said, we're not going to be too long today. And have we looked, or do we understand when we talk about matriarch and patriarch, when you start seeing things and just not questioning things, but looking with things for power? Remember, we go to these things and we understand these things and we do these things for power, for unity, for overcoming. So in this context, the 12 apostles around the one that equals 13. It looks like a lot of them are off when they say the 12, because remember, things were taken, things were took out. And so in this context, I want us to look at this with an eye, just for balance. So the 12 apostles around the one, right? The 12 apostles around the one equals what? For my basic math here, watch y'all catch this. The 12 apostles around the one equals what? Come on.
12, the 12 apostles around the one.
Yeah.
13.
You see how simple math that is, Dantes? You see, I can make this easy for a child to understand, but you be like, what are you saying, Sheik? Oh, I just said a mouthful. I just said a mouthful. Peace and Islam. Happy Sunday. Remember, I'm a Moorish divine minister too. I have to be. I can teach the science like Seifrim and El, by him, it all come from all those perspectives, but we have to break the science down because we use this for power. If we a brotherhood, the issue about us, this is supposed to be the brotherhood. I'm breaking the cipher down. We can't be afraid of schoolmasters. So for everyone that's afraid of the signs and symbols, Dantes, that don't understand how to use those basic tools in elementary, when we talk about the compass and the square, those are two tools in elementary that you use to make a circle and a square, to circumscribe the world, both 360 degrees of basic wisdom. So 12 apostles around the one, that equals 13, right? Because who was the one? You know, it was the one, the Messiah per se, right? If we in context, right, Noble?
That's long.
Okay, so, right. So if they're on the 12 construct, but what we just said is at 13 construct, 28 lunar day cycle, 13 months. I'm always going with science. Never tell nobody what to do, but look at science when you compare and contrast, when you can look at things, when you can balance things, because you should have these tools. I'm showing you, I'm helping you use your tools that's in your Morse Quran, literally. Exactly. You're touching on these things in your brain and you touch it on some ancient. Watch this. The pattern of 12 around one shows up all through religions, all through myths, and even astronomy. Because our Morse Quran is knowledge, order, rhythm, astrology, astronomy, nature. That's the Quran in this esoteric science, which comes to a mathematical equation. And it does link to the idea, you know, the light bulb moment, the Illuminati, the aha, the enlightened one, as a hidden, but you know, I don't call nothing hidden. I call it sacred, or a whole cycle, a whole cycle, a whole cycle. When you unpack these certain things, watch this basic symbology, because I'm gonna always give you signs and symbols, and then we're gonna carry on. 12 around one, that's the archetype. So-called Jesus, Yahshua, whatever you want to call it, plus the 12 apostles equals 13 total. Sun plus 12 zodiac signs equal to 13th. The AKA, they like to call the hidden sign. You know what the hidden sign was? Ophiuchus, Ophiuchus. Write that down. Y'all got it? I'll wait.
Repeat that spelling.
Ophiuchus. And tell me what you get. Ophiuchus. And tell me what you get when you just do a quick Google search of that word. Tell me what you get real fast. What they give you or what they tell you.
Ophiuchus. Okay. So Ophiuchus is based on what, you know, just a quick Google search, is a large sprawling constellation that crosses the celestial equator, meaning the serpent bearer in Greek. It is depicted as a man grasping a snake, represented by the constellation serpents. While it spans the sun's path, it is excluded from the from traditional 12-sign astrology.
It's excluded, huh?
It's excluded from traditional 12-sign astrology.
from traditional, from traditional.
Traditional.
Tradition. Remember, I always talk about cutting the turkey in half. If a girl doing it today, that's tradition, right? Not law. Because we got big conventional ovens and pans. So if anybody do that today, it's tradition. It's tradition. It's tradition. Are you rocking with me? Not law, not ancient, not how we do things. Listen to me. How your people, when a lot of people balance be off. Follow you. We there. We going somewhere. This is what I said when my professors, all the Jewish professors, all the Scottish Rite Masons, they were, and when I was getting my degree, they were like, you have to get your own charter for what you know, and you have to lead your brothers to righteousness. Because if you take them back, that's why I say, man, it's only one science, and the other man know I'm telling the truth, and the truth will make you free. So it's nothing for me to be afraid of. I keep telling people they study us to a T. They sons of Muslims. This is for power. I'm bringing power to us. Once we click on, once we latch on, it's a wrap. The king plus 12 knights. That's the Arthurian round table. That's the Arthurian round table. The ARTHURIAN. That's that round table. I'm bringing us up. I'm bringing us up. I'm bringing us up. I'm bringing us up, y'all. Watch this. One nucleus plus 12 electrons in some atomic models. 1 leader plus 12 tribes equals what? Israel. This 12 plus 1, this motive is an archetype of what? Completion. The one is the center or the source per se. Everything is the source. I asked people before, you want the light switch or you want that electricity? Some people that don't operate in their higher self, they said, I want the light switch because I could cut it on and off. And then the people that understand the science where I was coming from said they want me. They want the source, the electricity, because once we cut the power off, you stuck with a doohickey with no power. You stuck with a doohickey because you don't know that the power source comes from above. We missing it. We talking God consciousness. We're not operating on no other consciousness. The 12 are the manifestations or expressions of it. The 13th, as they like to say hidden, I like to say sacred or transcendent in our esoteric systems. 13 represents the whole or the spiral. You know, that spiral that moves us to the next level. And the one in the pie in the middle is the unifying consciousness. The 12 per se are the dimensions or the aspects of this reality per se. And together, 13 equals totality or ascension beyond the material matrix. Remember, it never was a time when man was not. How can it be if we're talking about time? Some esoteric traditions say that the apostles represents the 12 archetypal energies. And Yeshua, Jesus per se, represents the center point, the Christ consciousness, binding them all together. You know, in our clock of destiny, where you got Muhammad per se in the middle with all the astrological signs off of it, you got the 12 plus the 1 equals the 13, the one that unifies them all. Y'all don't hear me. This is a brotherhood. This is the order of Melchizedek. Y'all can't see this. The 13 moves, the earth, the lunar calendar equals 13 months. 28 days equal 364 days, very close to the solar year. Ancient cultures like the Mayan, the Druidic, the pre-Roman used 13 moon calendars, right? Of course they did. Of course they did. And Rome changed the calendar, the Julian to the Gregorian, to a 12-month solar calendar, phasing out the 13th cycle, because Dantes just looked it up. He just looked it up. He said they left it out. I'm saying it in layman terms. And they left. I'm saying it in layman terms. They left it out. It's a reason why. They take you off your pH balance. I'm trying to tell you, man. To keep us unbalanced. To keep us. It's talking about what? How man is made. Man is made from the womb. It takes the man and the woman. That's what we about. I'm telling you. This is no artificial assimilation, man. We are organic, not synthetic. Symbolically, the shift from 13 to 12 can be seen as moving away from the natural. That cycle, that type of time, that cycle time, the feminine lunar. Remember, everything about our affairs, everything 9 to the 9th to the 9th power of 9. The woman is Mayat, the garden that produces food and life. Everything that has life comes from the mother. We know this. Then it goes to artificial, the linear time, the masculine, the solar. What this means is that the Jesus per se, that Jesus context, that Jesus plus 12 equals Christ consciousness, equals what? The center, where you see the Hindu and they put that dot in the center, in the center, in the center, plus 12 archetypes, disciples. Every constellation have 3 deacons. The church later structured itself in 12 patterns. That's where you get that 12. You're going to get that 12. But what about the source? But often suppressed or obscured the feminine, the lunar aspect. The Mary Magdalene is a classic example of being sidelined. The lost 13th of this often symbolizes the missing divine feminine, the wholeness or the hidden. And then we have our, what I like to call the base or the modern esoteric readings, because you have the modern, the 12 apostle structure equals the 12-month solar calendar. That's the patriarchal order. The 13th consciousness equals the unifying, the Christ consciousness, or the return of the lunar, that cycle, that intuitive pattern. And the whole pattern equals integration of the masculine and the feminine. That's when you get the so-called Baphomet, the cold volta with the snake going up the chalice. All of is your symbology. All animal figures are nothing but pious hieroglyphs. The linear and the cycle, the physical, the spiritual. So you're not off at all. The 13 shows up because it's about wholeness, whereas 12 is about structure. When you see the circle and the 7, when you see the pentagram in the circle, you seeing the same symbology. When you see the so-called, that's the Masonic G, no, the compass and the square, you seeing the same thing. If you're dealing with real science, you can say 12 equals the matrix, 13 equals what? Breaking the matrix. I already done mapped out each apostle to an archetypal energy, like the zodiac signs or the lunar cycles. It all lines up. I did it I showed y'all with the Quran. I showed y'all with the Bible. So it's us that's out here operating on falseness. It's us keeping us away from the science of the Bible. You may hear your preacher or someone say, with all due respect, oh, constellations and the zodiacs, that's against God. Well, then I just gave you a word, Maserat. Somebody give me what Maserat mean in the Bible. I broke this down the other day in a DAP class, telling you how when people say the scriptures say go against this, no, it's just for you, because you the student, you the slave, just like in the Quran, when people do certain ayats, and I say, well, yes, the al-salat is for me to rest. It's in your Quran. I don't do tradition. I don't do tradition. I'm made in the image of the creator. So when I speak clearly and when I show people, I don't teach a biased spirituality. I teach and I preach and I bring light of what? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And my understanding is international, because you can't go against what I'm saying. When you research, what does Maserat mean biblically? Somebody just ask their phone that.
Nazarat,
Yeah,
N-A or M-A?
M-A, Maserat. Maserat. Just say it to your phone. Watch. I'll say it. Watch this. Maserat in the Bible. You got it? It's a good
is important in the Bible because Jesus grew up there. It was the site.
You can take your time.
Yeah, that place. I mean, I have that. Hold on.
Mazzaroth.
Okay. M-A-Z-Z.
Tell me what you get.
Maserat, a biblical Hebrew term found only in the book of Job, chapter 38, verse 32. Let's see, 38, Job 38, verse 32. God speaks to Job from the whirlwind, asking, can you bring forth the Maserat in their season, or lead out the bear with its cube?
With his cubs.
Or excuse me, with his cubs. My bad. With his cubs.
And we translate that, all scholars, they translate that and interpret it as a reference to the constellations of the zodiac or a specific astrological star group, highlighting God's absolute sovereignty over the cosmos. Also in 2 Kings 23:5, a closely related Hebrew word, Mazaloth, is used to describe the constellations of the zodiac. You know, the passage described King Josiah purging Judah of adulterous patriarchs or practices, excuse me, which include burning incense to the sun, moon, and the signs of the zodiac. So when you see certain things, you seeing people stopping people from doing these because they saying this and that and the other. Just like if we was in the biblical times, we would be looked at as pagans. Why? Because we didn't give up our science. I tell y'all, it's always a reverse. Just like Artemis, the god Artemis. I can show all it go to our African signs and symbols, and that's Moorish. And they named the spaceship that went to the sky after Artemis. This all in the symbols, what the Catholic Church know. The Catholic Church know everything I'm talking about. When we talk about the symbols, it's all there. And so a lot of things become whitewashed. You know, when we talk about the breast of life and all these things when it pertains to what? The woman, you know? So, Noble Dantes, that was just a quick explanation of that. So me and Noble Malik, because like I said, it's not going to be long. We probably won't even be an hour. Give me Malachi chapter 3, verse 3.
Okay. I had that one ready. Okay. Malachi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Malachi, which verse? Or
Chapter,
which verse?
chapter 3, verse 3.
3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Malachi chapter 3, verse 3.
Yep.
Yeah, it says, he will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. So this is a metaphor that may be describing God's deliberate, loving, and transformative process of removing impurities from his people so they can live righteously. But
okay.
But that's what the verse is. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the Levites and refine them like gold and silver. Okay.
Islam. Now, we're going to break this down a little bit in the base, which is the exo, and we're going to break it down a little bit in the eso, or metaphysically per se. I'm gonna give an analogy real fast. I don't know if you ever was any of us young in school when you had to, at the end of your art class, you ever made a clay project?
Yeah.
Anyone here? Okay, so whatever clay project you make, say you're making a action figure, and you take that action figure and you put it all together, and it's a process. It's a process that action figure has to come out. You have to do for it to be shiny and come all and pretty, the finished product. And you have to put that action figure in a kiln, right?
Islam in the kiln.
And then, that kiln, and then you painting all that, you put in the kiln, and it come out, if with this color, it's refined per se. So in this context of Malachi, Noble Dantes, in the exoteric just a little bit, but we're gonna splash the exo and the eso, because that's what the close companions always knew. That's what the Jacobites knew. That's what we teach at the Brotherhood. We teach the eso and the exo. So we use what's common to the people to explain the higher level of the science. We don't diss nothing. We just illuminate the teachers. Why? Because the illumination is there. That's why the Bible, the Quran, all these things is written in analogy, parable, and symbology. Is written in astrological signs. And once you catch the language and the cipher and you understand, and God is leading you, or the Holy Spirit is leading you, because there's only two spirits, then you good. So watch this. God as a refiner and a purifier of silver. So symbolic meaning, metaphor of ancient metal worker. Keep that in your head. A refiner applies when you are refining something, then you the type of person that apply intense heat to precious metals. Your job is to separate the impurities. We like to call it in that field the dross, the DROSS, from the pure gold and the pure silver, because we're trying to get it to something. Follow me. So in that context, in that text, when it says the sitting gold, if you read in the King James Version, the sitting God. So when I say the God is sitting, listen to the context when I say the sitting God. So right now I'm sitting. So in this analogy, it's unlike a frantic worker. The refiner is sitting down. So as we refining Noble Dante, we comfortable. We are sitting down because this not work. We just practicing. See, we're not doing nothing frantic. This is what we think. We sit down having a conversation. You see? And this is symbolic of patience. This is symbolic of control. This is symbolic of absolute focus. This meaning the creator, God, carefully orchestrates as a puppeteer, oversees the lives of what? Of those that understand, without ever losing control of the process. Because remember, everything is a process. When brothers be trying to say it's absolute, I say you just at a level of understanding. We're at a level of higher understanding, and it's okay. You know, it's okay. You know, that's why I tell brothers, as a brotherhood, we can get there because we exhume in love. Love corrects. We're refining. We are refining. And so the goal, per se, the goal, the purpose of the heat is not to destroy in this context, but to cleanse, Noble. It's to cleanse. We're using it as an analogy. The ultimate result is a what? A purified priesthood. This is what we use, a purified priesthood, because the sons of Levi, Levites, per se, the people who can offer a living sacrifice and worship that are truly acceptable and righteous. We just using it as a speaking point. Those were the Levites. Now, esoterically or metaphysically, in the same context, this represents the spiritual alchemy of the soul. This represents the spiritual alchemy, the cold volta. This, when you see the Baphomet, this represents that. When we say the coon, the snake, yeah, we are the coon. We are the kundalini. When you understand it, that's why they sons of Muslims. See, the alchemy of the soul. This is what this is. It's the refining. Esoterically, metaphysically, this represents the spiritual alchemy of the soul. The fire is the catalyst for the inner transformation. You see? And the refiner represents that divine or your higher self, purposely guiding your spiritual evolution. When I say this is a process, I'm just a map and a guide. That's why I said we get here. It's a beautiful place. We do this on earth. The refiner sits implying patience, control, mindfulness over the process. You see? A map and a guide don't send no one into a burning house. Why? Because the map and the guide already know the structure is burning. He's been there. He came out with no spots and blemishes. So you don't have to go through that. We're going to prepare people and what? Give you that aha moment. Make you gods on this earth as we're supposed to be. We just digressed. It takes us coming together to do this God work. This silver, this gold. It's metaphors for your higher, your divine aspects of our human consciousness. The soul, the intuition, the pure spirit. When I talk about what is your, how can I say, your motive? What's your purpose in life? You know, everybody have motives because it's premeditated, you know? In this context, the fire symbolizes the trials that you may go through, where you think, oh, you're still not being guided because you don't see footsteps and all this. The challenges. Why? Because certain decisions that we do, and we have to correct those decisions. And the heat of the earthly fire that we may go through, all persecutions, or we feel that we're not hearing this, or we judge in time, or we're looking at someone else's life because things on the outside. No. Esoterically, heat is required to melt away the ego. The heat is required to melt away the lower self. The heat is required to melt away the fattiness. The heat is required to make that clay project a beautiful piece of art after it comes out the kiln. It shows you how to get rid of attachments and worldly illusions, you know? And sons of Levi, in this context, the ancient times, the Levites were priestly. They were the priestly tribe responsible for maintaining the temple and connecting the people to the divine. That was the Levites' job. I ain't saying nothing about Hebrew Israelites, with all due respect. And esoterically, this represents our inner priest, the part of our consciousness dedicated to spiritual service, sacredness, and higher awareness. That's why you can't teach biblical science or promulgate biblical science and hating the other man, calling a man evil. Why? That's just like saying, oh, we talk about a koala bear, and a polar bear, and the creator made both. We talk about a grizzly bear and a black bear, and the creator made them both. We can't be that biased. Oh, so the creator created all the animals and everything, and someone else created you and I? See, that's how we don't get into those type of games. The core esoteric meaning is that suffering, not the type of not suffering forever, or we say, oh, it's going to always be like this. No, challenges are not random punishments, but rather purposeful heat. If you understand this context, then we correct ourselves, because it's heat that brings these hidden impurities like fear, anger, ego. Now you see the kids saying they got anxiety. Anxiety is just not being prepared. All these things, anxiety begins to do what? Come to the surface. But just as a blacksmith, it skims off the dross as it rises to the top. The divine, because there's only two spirits, the Holy Spirit and a satanic spirit in this context. The holy, the divine, uses the trials of life to purify our consciousness. This God consciousness is what we're talking about. Eventually reflecting a clearer, unblemished spiritual state. So that's what I wanted to share with y'all. Like I said, it's not, this stuff don't take time. I just wanted to share that little bit of wisdom with y'all brothers and sisters, man, and hope y'all got some out of that little piece of wisdom that I gave y'all. I hope it resonated in your heart. I hope it touched. I hope it really, 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 really gave you something to think about, today. And as we go on in this life, and as we go on with our brotherhood and understanding, I hope we operate in a level of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And with that, that's the end of this demonstration. I'm always going to leave y'all with some nuggets. Somebody asked me, he was like, thank you, Sheik. Somebody sent me an email and said, man, please, would you leave us with 3 nuggets on keeping things in the private sector? Someone sent me a donation. I said, I'll give you 3 bullets to think about, and we out of here. I'll give 3 bullets. And if anybody like the teachings, like I said, if you donate anything, I'm going to give you books. I gave this brother all type of trust books. I broke down percentages, and I don't tell nobody what to do. I say, when you go into contracts, especially when you get a house, that's the biggest contract you're going to sign in your life. I hope you know what you're doing. And I hope you go in there and ask some questions, just like if you're going to do surgery. You always should have someone there in your best interest. You always should be willing to give someone a donation or pay someone, but you can't pay me. It's always a donation to give you things that's going to help you with whatever you're doing. So I'll leave you with this. Somebody asked me what type of deed would I put my stuff in, or my house and everything, if I'm leaving it or anything. I said, well, maybe. I said, for educational purposes only, do it like this, because this just for education purposes only. I said, for education purposes only, put the deed in a revocable living trust. For education purposes only, use joint tenancy for rights of survivorship as a backup, easy transfer to heirs, the people that you want to leave it to. For educational purposes only, name your trust as the beneficiary of your life insurance policy. It pays off mortgage and taxes tax-free. I'll leave y'all with those 3 little bullets. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you to think about these things and protect your assets. Protect yourself when you're here on this earth and when you leave. Because I don't care what nobody say, y'all. We can say something, but if it's not done the right way, calamity. And you know how our people act when it's involved with money and families. I've seen it. And if you go to probate court with a will, all that stuff, the attorney is just going to eat that money up. It's going to eat that estate up. I'm giving you love. And if you want to learn, come to class. Hit me up, give me a donation. We lecture over specific things that people ask. We do this here at the BBT. So I just wanted to give y'all those 3 bullets at the end of this lecture. Do anybody got anything they want to add or anything or say before we get out of here? We got enough time?
Sheik, for all of those nuggets and just the overall message, from today. Definitely something to take and marinate for sure, especially the scriptures and everything we went over. So just gratitude for another great Sunday school. Islam.
Man, gratitude for your time, Noble Dantes, and your dedication as we continue to build here at the BBT, as we continue to go and continue to spread the mission, because that's the mission for the civilized, is to continue to go. You know, we got a job on our hand, but as we continue to cast our net out, brothers and sisters know how to get with us, email us. Like I said, if you like the teaching, all the ways to donate, it's going across the right at the bottom. It's all in our bio on our Temple and School YouTube channel, also on my YouTube channel. And we just hope we get to the point where we like the rest of these. I don't want to say just like the rest. I just said I hope we at the level I hope we get to see where we get treated just like the rest of these people that just done made it on social media and using it for the wrong things, and lying, having jewelry and riding around in fancy cars. We'll be able to do something to actually build and do some of the things that we know we can do. We continuing to buy land with our own dollars. Just imagine if we was some of these people on these platforms that's making millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, Noble Dantes, monthly. Just imagine the work we already would be doing. And we can do that with the amount of followers that we have, with the amount of work that we're doing. And it don't take a lot. It takes a little from everyone consistently, and we'll be there. And I'm gonna keep saying it, because I'm not afraid to say it, because I'm a part of this as well. And I see what works, and once this click on with all of us and all more, and once we get used to not only giving our time, but giving a piece of our finances and being okay with it, that's the level we got to get on. Because like I said, brothers been following me forever, and I know people that go to church each week and put on a Steve Harvey suit, Noble Dantes, and not only they'll donate, but give money to their kids to donate. And then come home and talk about the church and say, oh man, the church was so whack. And the pastor sows this, that, and the other, and continue to go each week, and give their hard on dollars and don't even get a tax exempt receipt. Don't get nothing out of it. So I challenge brothers that's following me, especially on my YouTube channel, especially when I go back on TikTok. Because I told you, when I speak truth, I get suspended. I got suspended for TikTok for 3 days. It was funny, but I love to get suspended because I know what we're doing is working. That's why we need our own platform. That's why we teach privately. And that's why I tell brothers, don't be a spectator, be a participator. Because with me, if I see you at my establishment of business, Noble Dantes, a plethora of times over and over and over, and you're not patronizing, I don't care how many times you say peace to me, with all due respect. This social media, I'm blocking you. It's a reason why we own social media. If people have been following me, they see the work that we do in real life. They see I have brick and mortars. We trying to get back to something. They know we have a library. So it's not for brothers just to be tapping in and not showing no love with finances as well. If you say you part of it and you want to be a part of it. And that's all I tell brothers and sisters, because if we go to church, we'll be giving to church. You know how I know, Dante? Because they'll take an intermission. They'll say it's offering time. And what you going to do? Act like you're going to go to the bathroom? You're going to act like you got to use the bathroom every time it's offering time? I'm just being honest, though. When you go to church and all these places, they'll stop. They have, okay, now we're doing for the tithe and offering. They even have a song. The preacher will get up there and even talk about how would a man rob God by tithes and offerings. They'll go through that whole spiel, They'll go through that whole spiel. And so I try to tell brothers and sisters, this is just a way to get us back to the brick and mortar. This is just part of it. And we should have no problem donating and getting literature and getting things that go with our culture if you've been following us a plethora of times, if you come to class all the time. It's no excuse anymore, especially for my brothers. Because as I close, if I did an analogy and say we were all around each other and everybody would say, yeah, I'll come to the temple. I said, so you will leave out without putting nothing in the altar? So you will walk in the temple, in the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School in your area. You'll walk in each week and walk out and won't contribute to keeping the lights on, won't contribute to making sure we got regalia, won't contribute to making sure we can distribute these books and do all this ministry in our communities. We'll just walk in and out. Like that's what we'll do. I think we got to be better than what we're doing. Brothers and sisters, the only way we can do something is our time, our effort, and understanding what we can do consistently, And with that, man, once again, Dantes, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your spirit. And I thank you for your consistency, man, and gratitude.
Gratitude to you, Sheik. Gratitude for all of the words, everything that we spoke about on today. Always something special in what, we get every day, every week is really what all of our communities and our local areas are going to get. But it's just, hey, it's about the triple C's that we speak of. Just being consistent, communicate everything. You know, we just have to have that and bring that energy each and every day. Always communicate, be consistent, and be committed, you know, to something. And just understanding what we're saying, what we've been saying consistently, literally every single day. And to that thing is ingrained in your head. So just Islam and gratitude sheet for everything, you know. We getting there.
Gratitude, man. Gratitude. Yours our Moorish American prayer. You got our benediction? If not, I got it if you don't have it, Dantes. If you don't have the benediction.
No, I got it. I have everything ready.
Okay.
Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is our protector, our God, and our salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Shalom Alaikum, Ayah Asha'ayah, Islam, Amen. Peace, 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 peace. And our benediction reads as follows. May the benediction of Allah be upon thee and thine always, as thou should strive to be a credit to Allah. Make haste to bestow thine acts of love upon thine brethren, and do the best to shun thine evil ones. Remember to take suckle of the breast of knowledge, wisdom, fortitude, charity, love, and all standing, that you might nourish the souls of men. Let truth be the shield in the manifest battle of falsehood. Know that Moors need not to pick the lock to the gates of paradise by means of petty or criminal theft. For behold, the key to salvation already rests within thine own hands. And yes, even though a portion of our nature is weakness, instability, and inconsistency, there is still the greater part of our nature that is divine. May Allah protect thee, guide thee, preserve thee, lengthen thy age, and give thee everlasting peace. Islam, amen. Peace, 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 peace.
Peace.
Islam.
Islam. Gratitude.
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 I'm a spirit speaking, truth seeking, heart reaching, knowledge leaking, seeds sowing, harvest reaping, man of meager means. I have yet to leave, I'm still breathing. To quit, I have no reason. I mean, I'm asleep, but I be trying to live my dream. I cannot even act if it's all easy. Either you gon' do it or you don't really. It ain't no in between. Baby, you can ask the sun, it's an everyday thing. Consistency in your routine is how you bring reality. Working like a slave, that's how I made this masterpiece. Living like a god, I lay at night, I rest in peace.